Welcome to Factorio 0.17, available now on Steam. If you go into Steam and right-click Factorio, you should be able to go down to Properties, go across to the Betas tab, or Beta tab if you know where you're from, and you'll be able to select the 0.17 experimental branch, and of course, here we are. We have no mods available, and there is a very new user interface. That's one of the biggest features of 0.17, and we'll go through the other features as we go for them. But as you can see, the user interface does look different. If you go into mods, you can see it's very different, much more professional. I very much like this, actually, compared to the old one, so we'll see how well that does in other areas of the game. And there aren't any mods available just yet, I don't think, but I'm sure the mod developers will be looking to update this as soon as possible. Okay, so where do we go from here? We're going to play, and I'm going to start a game with similar settings to last time. Let me set that up, and then you can take a look. Oh, okay, here's the new game interface. So, similar to the last game we actually played, we're not going to worry about biters because they're, you know, once you've played Factorio once with biters, that's pretty much you're sick of them at that point when you start expanding. But for the rest of the things, we're just going to create things to be quite large for everything. More importantly, in advanced, if you look in the technology section, you'll see this research queue availability. Now, research queue used to be a mod, or probably still is. However, they built it into the game. So it's one of the new features. If this isn't set to always, you can indeed set it to never, so never have a research queue, or after the game is finished. And that means after you've launched your first rocket with the, with the satellite attached. Although I'm not sure if the satellite's actually needing to be attached anymore. I think they may have changed that. However, after you launch your first rocket, basically. In my case, I'm going to leave research queue availability to always because I want to play with the new feature. I'm sure you guys do as well. Turned off pollution, again, enemy, peaceful mode, turned off expansion and evolution, brought down the size. And so we've got a nice big playground to play with. Turned off cliffs because cliffs are awful, although they are, apparently you can now use robots to demolish cliffs, but yeah, I'm not too much of a fan, at least not while I'm demonstrating it here. While I'm playing perhaps with friends or something like that, then maybe. But yeah, so let's take a look at the preview and see what that happens. Okay, so we've got plenty of water around, perhaps a little bit too much water to be honest. So why don't we just go into there, water, why don't we just bring the coverage down a little bit. Yeah, and you can see on the flies we actually adjust these sliders. So a little bit nicer, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I almost want to regenerate it. Can I hit random seed? Yep. There we go. So we can even see the various different resources. So you'll see there's a huge patch of iron, but it's overlaid by coal, lots of copper. It's hard to see the stone on this, I think. So why don't we just turn up stone and let's see what it actually shows us. Which one changes? Okay, so it's the tan colour stuff. Yeah, so this kind of stuff is the stone. So we do sort of want something with stone really close to the start. Quite nice. Lots of forest on this one, although I will need stone, and there is some there, along with copper, coal, and lots and lots of oil around this side. And I think the bright green stuff is the uranium. So we'll need to grab that as well. So we'll be demonstrating uranium this time if we get that far in this. So why don't I just bring up the size of the stone deposits a little bit. Larger. And there's another patch up here as well we can use. I'm quite happy with that. A little bit too many trees perhaps. So let's just take down the trees a little bit. All the way down. Why are more trees appearing? What if I increase this? What is it? How it happens? Okay, so if I increase this, the trees move, and there are less trees. I think that may be a bit of a bug. Let's bring down the coverage and let's see what happens. Yeah, so if I just bring this down to 400%, do I start to get a few trees at least in my starting area? Yeah, we do. So why don't we just leave it there? And let's try and play this. You can see the seed up here at the top left, so if you want to play it yourself, you can do. Alright, and we're into a new game. So, tips and tricks, I don't need to worry with that. And this is the free play, new user interface, again, in-game as well as out-of-game. And yes, we need to build a rocket silo. So, as you can see, it looks relatively normal. We've got pretty much everything we need near the start, I think. The stone is a little bit further down. Let's just see how far that is away by running. That's still, well, it's not too bad, but it's still, you know, it's not terribly close. I'm sure people will publish better seeds, and if you have got a better seed than this, put it in the comments down below along with your settings, and people can have a play around with it. So here we are, and we need to get started with a new game. We have water available to us straight away, and yeah, we should get going. All right, now, before I just start dropping stuff into here, one thing is this hotbar at the bottom of the screen. It is also new, and it works differently to the original hotbar that you're used to in 0.16 and before. It is now no longer an inventory. Before, it was extra inventory space, basically. You could put stuff on that bar. Now it just works like a hotbar in an MMO or something like that. They're just bookmarks to the stuff in your main inventory. So if you just go in here, we have extra main inventory to actually cope with the fact we've lost some extra inventory down here. So now everything is actually in our own inventory. Fair enough. And we need to get started. So I'm just going to get started with a few things, and then we'll come back to, well, hopefully you'll be joining me then, and we'll continue with the game. All right, so first thing you do is just go and grab some stone from somewhere, just a couple of boulders, wherever they can find them, and some logs, and you can get going with those. Put a couple of burning mining drills down, put a couple of, stone furnaces, and we're away, really. And then we need to look at the hotbar. So the hotbar now functions a little differently. So as I said before, they are like bookmarks. So if we just, for a second, just basically craft these as we normally would, just get them started. And you'll see now this has gone grayed out because I don't have any more of those things in my inventory. And, you know, we can't really just use it to craft anymore or anything just by pressing 1. But now this is your main toolbar at the top, and then there's a second toolbar below it, but you can save different sets of toolbars. More importantly, you can also, well, you select things by going from number 1 through to presumably 0. And previous versions used shift 1 to get to number 6 here, number 7 was shift 2, etc. Now it's just the number key row across the top. So we need to, first of all, actually pick up some more coal, and then we'll get everything supplied and keep on going. There we go. So, regular sort of game so far. So, what else can you actually do? Interesting. Let's have a look. So, a couple of things for multiplayer. Now, when you join a multiplayer world, it's going to try and synchronize the mods you have with the server. So, as long as the mods are on the mod portal. There are changes to the fights with the biters. Changes such as the enemy projectiles are dodgeable and all kinds of other things like that. You know, they slow down and damage you over time, so just be careful when you're actually doing those. And let's just make sure we keep on getting more and more coal. That's good by me. And then we're going to consider actually making some more burner mining drills. So as before, I'm probably going to go up to 6, I want to say, with these, and we'll just pocket craft them while we're looking at other stuff. Also, a really wonderful change. Now, apparently, you can't mix fluids, in that if you try, it's not going to pollute the lines anymore. It's actually going to give you an error message on screen, and that's such a big, nice quality of life improvement. When you accidentally connect one other thing, you have to rip them all back up again. Nope, that shouldn't happen anymore, so I'm very happy with that. And pretty much there's other clipboard functionality. So Control-C, Control-X, Control-V. So let's just make sure we actually craft 4 more. Let's see if I can actually just do this without going to blueprints, or whether it actually just triggers blueprint functionality. So if I press Control-C, I obviously are able to select stuff, so we can craft, well, grab those, and that's in my tool now, or my mouse cursor. And because we've got these, we should be able to place them down. But yeah, it is basically ghost placing, at least at the moment. I don't think you can actually... No, it's just ghost placing for that kind of thing. And you can press Q to get rid of it again, of course. So for now, that's fine. And once we have robots, we will be going to robots this playthrough. If we go through that far, we'll be able to, you know, do this a lot further. But for now, just as normal, let's just get all those running. And let's get them started. Oh, I don't have the mods I want so that let me easily just drag over these things. So I'm going to, like, even distribution is one of them that I'm thinking of actually getting as soon as it's updated. And that's a pretty vital mod for that kind of thing. There we go. So we've got 6 furnaces going with iron. iron plate, and we'll use those to go and then make more coal. Once I have enough, that is. Oh, we're going to need stone furnaces. And that means I need to go and get some more stone. So while they're cooking up, I'm going to get more stone. And with more stone, let's talk about some of the other features. In particular, the belts have been redone. So now they have a different number of items. And I haven't checked it at the very end of the whole development cycle, but I did check it at the beginning. They were talking about just realigning them so that there was a certain number of items on the belt. And the belt graphics have been redone, and they look very, very nice. I loaded one of my old saves in the new version, and it did look very nice indeed. So we will get to those fairly soon now. However, I just want to try and just basically put stuff in and keep it going. So now we're going to have more coal, and we'll use that again. I'm going to make some copper, and we'll get started with that side of things. We're also going to need even more stones, and we're going to need to get some of that from probably. Let's actually put down a box now and get it automatically provided for us, because there is a stone patch down here. Yep, there it is. So we can, for example, just put 3 in, and then I'll put 3 boxes for now. We could share them boxes and stuff like that, but that is actually fine. And I'm just going to start them on logs for the moment. We'll come back with coal later, and they're going to start providing stone, which I actually need right now, so I may as well just grab some while I'm here. Okay, and let's just make a couple of stone furnaces. Keep all of that in our inventory, and one more, please. One more, come on. There we go. That'll do, and we'll use this to basically make up some more burner mining drills and then a furnace of some kind. In fact, for the copper, I don't need to worry too much about this, so why don't we just, I don't know, why don't we just put a furnace down in the middle? And for the moment, we'll just put that in there, and we can just put all 4 into the same furnace or something like that. We'll see how well that actually goes. Let's just grab some coal. There we go, and keep you started. And from there, I can then make 4. And we'll see if we can max this furnace out. I presume... we'll see. We'll put 2 into it and let's see how fast it is by comparison. I need to do all the calculations in my head again, just in case everything's been rebalanced. So I don't want to take anything for granted. We'll see how well it goes. There we go. So, now... are you maxed? And keep everything fed. Right. What else have we got? So yes, the belts have been redone. The amount of the items they can carry have been basically rounded. So I think it's something like is it 15 or 10 items? I can never remember. I need to look at the patch notes for that. There's an upgrade planner. That is also another mod that's been folded into the game itself. Haven't seen it yet because we haven't got there, but we will get to that in time. And yeah, is there anything else? Well. They've added RGB support for Logitech hardware. Mine's off right now, even though I have Logitech hardware, so yeah, we'll see. And 2's more than enough to keep this actually fed. You can see that's actually more than it actually requires. So yeah, we'll probably keep them to 1-to-1. I'll go and get some more stone in a little while. Fine. And we can get on towards Steam, because that's one of the first things you try and head for when you can. I'll grab some more of you, and keep everything fed on this side. Alright, so we should have lots of iron now. More than enough to do the steam that we need. And why don't we just create 2 to get started? And then we're going to need to make a boiler, but that needs more stone. So I'll go and grab that. We'll set up our sort of steam-powered stuff. And we'll probably have to feed it manually with coal to start with. But, you know, we'll get there. Okay, so research then. We've not got to the lab just yet. I do have one on build slowly, but here is the new research interface. And we have the usual kind of things that we can put in to get started. One is automation, and there's no issue why we can't start with that. And then usually logistics, I want to say. So yeah, we can put that into the queue. Steel, we can put that into the queue, and then electronics, probably. Seems reasonable. And they're all, of course, red signs. Straightforward, and they're all in a queue. Good. All right, I want to keep the sort of steam a little bit further away, so let's just craft an offshore pump. And we need some pipes, but we can craft plenty of those. and then we'll get everything started. So offshore pump for now, let's put it here. Yep, and we'll run some pipe upwards. And there's a pipe placement sound now, apparently. And yeah, we'll build our first array here. I think it seems reasonable. Good place to start. And let's put the boiler down. Both steam engines. Whoops. Need to put this on the here, by the way, so I don't need it anymore. Steam engines I don't use often enough to put on the hotbar. And then we'll start to build some small electric poles. I'm going to need more wood before that, but other than that, I just need to power this thing with coal. We can make some transport belt. And we can go and grab some coal from over here. And later we know we'll automate this, but to get started, let's just actually start this up. Just so it has a supply of coal. And pop over here. I need to go underground belt there. And let's just fill that up. In fact, let's go underground belt now, just so I can run past here in future. And there we go. Then, finally, we can just maybe change this to that. Move this around for now. No, I actually need to get rid of this and then add it that way. Yeah, that works. Okay, and here's the new belt. So it looks broadly similar until you sort of drop it down and look at it. So you'll see now it's on rollers. It's raised up slightly from the ground, so it looks more like a conveyor belt. And the graphics is actually a little bit different for it, but you know, we'll get there as far as the differences there once we get to the first research, which is automation, because we didn't need to worry about how many items to put into various things. And let's just put in one of our burner inserters, and then we'll just put a box over here or something along those sort of lines so I can dump stuff in for now. Use my other burner inserter, just pull stuff out of it. And whoops, there we go. And there it goes. So that'll keep this thing fed, and we will want to just put in our first pole and then put in our first lab right next to it. Here will do. And then we can start on research. So we need to craft some red science packs. For that we need copper and iron. And of course, we do have a couple of copper and a couple of copper and 6 iron going. So we can get plenty of that. And we'll shift these over to actually electric miners fairly soon. But in the meantime, let's just get both of those going. And I have hundreds and hundreds of iron now. Enough certainly to craft 10 red science, which will do our first automation research. Should be 10 science if I remember rightly. And let's pop it in here. So that should start up, and it is. Off our research goes. Good. Got started with the game. And my mistake, I didn't spot it, but on this seed there's also a very handy piece of stone right here. Didn't notice it? Wish I did. So I don't have to run down to the bottom of the screen anymore. Well, for now, I can just put one here and then one here. And we'll just put in a box. There we go. And just make sure both of these are fed with coal. And that will continue just making us stone quite happily. However, logs, yeah, they're still a little bit short. Nearest ones are up here to the left. Okay, it'd be nice if there's a patch around here somewhere, something like that. But yeah, you can't object too much. And so I'm on now into the patch notes. It says minor features, and to be honest, a lot of the minor features are just as important as the major ones. For example, you can build landfill. There's no money for a landfill mod. They can be built by robots, apparently. So interesting. A huge amount of new graphics. So accumulators, biters, chests, poles, electric poles, that is. Rocket silo is entirely new. That's amazing. I think that's 9 by 9 now, the size of it. Transport belts, of course. Trees are new. Turrets are new. Walls and gates are new. Laser turrets. Just a lot of the stuff that wasn't in high-res form now is in a high-res form, to put it another way. And yeah, they've also redone a lot of the stats. So a lot of the stats are a little bit simpler as far as what you actually deal with. As you can see there on the right-hand side, you get lots of different information about power output, temperature, efficiency, temperature, blah, 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 blah. We'll come on to looking at that more later once I've figured it out myself. There were a number of different stats you got in the game which weren't immediately obvious, but we'll get to those. I'm just building some more red science, and we'll have that running pretty much constantly in the background. I think this first set of research that I've put in is around an extra 35 red science or so, so we'll keep it running. And we now have the ability to make assembly machine 1s, so we can start crafting stuff that we want to happen automatically. So we'll think about that. One of the first things you actually want to do, or at least I want to do, is probably get some electric mining drills on the go, mainly for the coal first of all, so I have to keep going supplying everything. And then we'll consider doing the same thing for the iron first and the copper, and then send it one way. I'm not sure which direction we should head in. If you remember on the preview, the oil is all to the left, and there's some uranium down to the right somewhere, but when we're actually in-game, yeah, I can't see anything further than this at all, and I'm going to need radars for that, but we'll get to it soon. There's our little tiny power station. Alright, so I've extended the belt backwards up to this top patch of coal. I'm putting 5 electric miners on each side, so just so this belt remains balanced. It'll need to, have more going forward, but that's fine for now. And then we can now, because automation and logistics are both crafted, we can craft assembly machine 1s, but we can also craft splitters, and the splitters let us redistribute the coal outwards. So that is good. Whoops, did I? Oh, that was belts. I did mean to do that. That's good. We're going to need more belts because we need to send the coal this way as well. We could just build it locally here and then send it down. But for now, I'll just keep everything through the one line, and we'll figure it out later. At this stage, I've also just created a little bit of setup here just for assembly machines. It just basically takes in some iron plates that I manually put in, makes some iron gears, makes that into red science with the help of copper plates, and just put that in a box and just grab it from, well, whenever I go past, really. And keep everything fed with coal, which is what you always end up doing the first 20-30 minutes or so of the game. Fine, so now we've sort of got to the point where we don't necessarily need this cluster anymore. We can just bring it in from the other side once I have enough belts, which I'm just about to get to. Then we'll bring these belts across and we'll figure out what to do with it as far as using it for fuel. Particularly, we're going to be using it for furnaces, for both our copper and for our iron. So there we are to start with. And we're not going to need to use this cluster either very shortly. So we then have to decide where we're going to want to create all of this stuff. I think down here seems suitable. We should be able to build arrays of furnaces. But before we get to furnaces, we're going to want to get to basically provide power to more electric mining drills. Do I have electric mining drills? I do have 10 of them. So why don't we just set up randomly at the bottom end of this? Seems wise. Yeah, let's go for there. And that'll just inform where I put the rest of these things, really. At least for now. Slight disadvantage in it's a bit farther away than I'm going to need. I'm going to need to run over here a little bit, but other than that, we will be able to cope with it just fine. And of course, I will need more steam engines pretty soon. Okay, and then we'll just link all this up. And I assume that's going to be the last position there. And we'll just run it off this way. And then up to here was where our little factory is. There we go. So they should all be starting to produce iron ore. Yep, they are. Apologise, I don't have lights yet. Lights are coming soon enough. We'll actually just put them into the queue after electronics. And be able to put some lights on to be able to see. How are we doing for power? Yeah, we're getting pretty close, aren't we? So we need to get more steam engines in. A couple and then another boiler should do us for now. And that's just finishing. 4 steam engines can share, well, 2 poles in this case. Oops, wrong place. Move it up a little bit. There we go. So we just want 1 pole on this side. 1 pole can actually do 4, but it needs to be in the middle of them, and I'm not going to put it in the middle of them just here. And I'll just grab a boiler. Extend our belt, and make sure we continue to use burner mining drills. Burner mining drills, not mining drills, burner inserters. They just make sure that we never ever get to a situation where we're not producing enough power to insert more fuel and causing a negative feedback loop. or positive feedback loop. Never remember which way around those are. In any case, stops the power from dying, basically. That will do for now. Let's just see what the power situation is like now. Yeah, we're fine. Okay. They probably stopped somewhere else as well, and that's going to be okay. Yeah, it stopped the lab. Need to just go and grab those. 26 more, and we'll get that going shortly. Keep you fed. And then we need to decide what we're going to do with all of this ore. We're going to need to feed it into lots of stone furnaces. I can build 92 of them, but rather than have me do it, let's just put another assembly machine down for now. Let's just put it there. We are going to have to move this later, so it's not like it's a big deal. And we're going to feed it and make sure it's powered. Put a box in place and just basically tell this to make furnaces. Just need stone and nothing else. And we can just put those all the way into the wooden chest. And we need another one. We need another one to actually put this stuff into once it's finished. So let's just put it back there. Right, stone furnaces whenever we want those. The other things that we're going to need fairly soon is electronics. I'm handcrafting those at the moment when we need them, but we don't need to do that long term. And let's just pick up the next lot of copper plates. What do we need to go to next? I'm just going to put this research in place and we'll come back for the final bit of the episode. Okay, so I've set up a pretty typical setup down here below iron ore factories. It's getting very, very dark on YouTube. Let me just zoom in so you can see this. So yeah, well, you just got a split belt setup coming in, the fuel coming in, and I'm just splitting it to the outsides, and the iron ore going around the outsides, and then the center belt is the output belt, so we can just run along here and just pick up all the iron plates that we're actually producing. Obviously not much at the moment, there's only 2 furnaces going, but I'll do the rest of this off camera. This is all very standard stuff. I don't need to really show that or demonstrate it, do I? If you have any difficulties with it, do let me know, of course. I'm more than happy to talk about it a little bit. Optics is nearly done, which means I get some nice lights going. And yeah, so we got to, I think, the end of the first episode. It's a nice stopping point here because next I need to do some work off camera, basically reproducing that furnace setup for copper and then extending it a little bit to handle more iron ore so that we can get rid of this cluster and indeed this one. I'm not really using it all that much. We have more than enough coal, but you know. And yeah, I've just put in some manual stuff for belts and pipe. We'll move this all pretty soon as well. Next episode typically would be red and green science, so I will get those out of the way next episode. However, there is a lot of balance changes to the patch now. I've been talking about features, but not necessarily balance changes just yet. There's our optics done. The balance changes, well, lots of different well, the science packs have changed names, first of all. Yeah, so we'll probably still end up calling them red science, but they're actually now called automation science packs. But yeah, I mean, some of them have actually changed. The requirements for certain things being created have changed to different science packs. The recipes have changed for these. So, for example, like the military science requires piercing rounds and grenades and walls. You didn't need walls at all previously. Yeah, so there's lots of stuff to work out for the actual game. Production science pack, which is one of the later colors. I never remember the actual names of them. It's just by color. Requires rail to actually produce. So there's lots of different recipe changes, and we're going to have to figure them out all over again. But that's fine. We'll figure that out as we actually go through. For now, I just wanted to cover the major new features. New user interface is the biggest, and lots of high resolution graphics, and the balance changes are next. Hopefully join me next episode for some red and green science, and indeed whatever else we can actually fit in. And for now, as always guys, thanks very much for watching Factorio 0.17, and we'll see you next time for some more. Feel free to give it a like if you enjoyed it, share it with your friends, and indeed click on the belly for notifications of more videos. I will try to remember to add this to a new playlist, so as and when we do continue this game, we will be able to just follow along there if you want to just follow the playlist. Otherwise, thanks for watching, as always, and I'll see you next time.